Hey guys!
Yes, now, welcome back to the H&U podcast with your hosts, Himane, and
Urvashi.
if you can, please like, subscribe, and share if you like it. Today, we have a special guest coming on.
That we do.
I can call it, well, how do I say this? He's a good friend of mine, first of all. I'm happy to call him a friend. And he's someone who's inspired me in terms of the fitness side of things. Very determined to get things done. He goes by the name of Harmon. Enjoy the episode. Welcome to the podcast, brother.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you
being
for having me.
Yeah?
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm actually going to start off by saying I actually admire you guys doing this because especially when you're starting out new on something, people probably might look at it and think, why are they doing that? And I always think, well, if someone's doing something new, they're doing something they love, which, am I right? You're doing something you love.
Yep.
And you've overcome that fear to actually do it without worrying about the opinions of others. And people don't realise how important that is and how much of an effort you guys have made to have a little setup in your little studio.
Yeah.
I actually watched, I don't know if you guys watch it, the Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett.
Yeah.
Paul Brunson was on his show. And I remember him saying actually he would spend like £3,000 or £4,000 on a setup and he'd upload it onto YouTube talking about relationships. And it would literally have like 3 views, 4 views. And he was doing that over and over and over again. Just because A, he loved it. And B, he knew at some point it was going to work out. And he actually says on that podcast, he goes, one view was mine. One was my mum's because she told me she should watch it. And there'd always be like 2 or 3 others. He found out after a couple of months, one of them was Oprah Winfrey.
I think I see that episode then.
And she loved him so much, she actually invited him to join him on a show or join her on a show as a co-presenter.
Right.
So, yeah, the message is kind of there. You never know what something so basic or something small could turn into.
It's so true. I mean, it took me, I'm not going to lie, it took me 2 years for me to actually start it.
Yeah.
Because I was so into my own head, like, oh, what if it doesn't work out? What if people judge me? Blah, blah, blah. The thing that changed for me is I won't know until I start it.
Yeah. I remember you telling me about it as well.
Remember?
I remember you ages ago saying you want to do something like this. And then homeboy, you've done it. So, yeah, I know you love it because you've mentioned it so many times.
Oh, yeah.
And, you've overcome that fear of getting straight into it.
Yeah, well, took a while, but we're here, innit?
Yeah, we're here. And I'm proud to be a guest on the show. So
I'm happy for you to be the guest on the show, honestly. I'll say this as well. You're someone I look up to a lot, and in terms of fitness and the way your mindset is, you can't fault it.
I appreciate that, man.
Trust me.
I don't really know what to say to that.
That's
no,
cool.
it's appreciated. I've always, I know we've always had a top tier friendship. It's my first time meeting your sister.
Yeah.
Hello.
So no doubt we'll become friends at some point as well. But yeah, I value the friendship, and yeah, we've discussed a lot in the last couple of years.
And I wanted you. Here's what I wanted to say as well. I wanted you on it more than anything because out of everyone that I've spoken to, outside family setting, like work friends and stuff, you're probably one of the only people outside of work that I'll take information on board and actually do something about it.
Well, that's touched my heart.
Seriously, because
it actually has. No, it's good. I definitely appreciate that. I think everyone needs to have them kind of people in their lives. You know how they say you're the average of the 5 people around you? I can't remember where I read it. There was a book somewhere, and it was saying that there's 5 types of people you need to have around you, and it listed the 5. Now, I can't remember all of them, but it was something along the lines of someone that's known you since day dot, another person that knows you in not in a personal way, so someone in work, someone who does know you in a personal way, so the family environment understands your dynamics, your culture, and I can't remember the other 3. I will look it up and I will get back to you, but I just remember saying the most successful people were the ones that had them 5 as their average. Anything beyond that was just a bit of an overkill. And yeah, taking them people's opinions on board, not necessarily saying you're going to follow what they're saying, but enough that they'll then give you a balanced thought of what you're going to do after. You do need them.
Yeah.
So I appreciate I've been hopefully one of them people.
Definitely one of those people in the top 5 for sure. And it's true when I was reading a book called Rebel Ideas, and it talks about how you need different people from different backgrounds, not backgrounds, but people who think differently to create something better. Because we all have different blind sides. and so we all on each other's blind sides all the time.
Mm.
So there is no room for error. Well, there'll be a little sometimes, but yeah, you're definitely in top 5.
No, I'm glad. I honestly, I really appreciate that. And if I have ever given you advice, it's not even about the advice itself that needs to be followed. It's just trying to trigger a certain thought.
Right.
I remember ages ago, again, might be going off a little bit, but someone once said to me, we were in a scenario and I was like, oh, I don't know whether to go left or right with this. And his response was, have you explored up or down? And I was like, oh, and I didn't even think like what that meant until after. And then again, I read a book by Tim Grover, who's the guy that trained up Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. He actually says it in there. He goes, all of our lives we're told what to think. So when you go to school, you're told what to think. When you go to work, you're told what to think. He goes, you need to change that and be told how to think. So you make your own opinion and you do something completely different. And that's where I think back to that analogy of, we're probably taught, do you go left, do you go right? And it was only until that guy came up to me and said, have you looked up or down? I was like, oh, actually. And it wasn't even about looking up or down. He was just trying to get me to think, don't just look at option A and B. There's a whole host of options.
Right.
And that's what I try and put back out to people, which is, don't actually listen to what I'm saying. Use that as a way to explore your own mindset to look elsewhere.
Right.
And then make your own opinions.
Yeah, that goes off of when people say you don't meet people for no reason. Like everything that you hear, that you read, that you see, it's all you get influenced by it. So even if you said something and no one's listening, subconsciously they're taking that information in, and somehow later on, whenever it is, it kind of comes back. Not like, oh yeah, I remember that, but they've had that thought in their head and comes out in a certain way for them.
Yeah. That little golden nugget stays in their head.
Yeah.
That's what I do, just leave little
Drop
drop a little golden nugget somewhere for everyone. Yeah.
How did you guys meet? Because, I mean, hello, we just met 5 minutes ago.
We did.
Again, this is like a common theme for our podcast. But, yeah, I mean, you seem like you guys know each other very well. And you seem like, you're like go-to people for advice. So, yeah, I want to know how you guys met and how you guys decided, you know what, he's cool, I'll carry on talking to him.
Yeah. How did we meet?
I was going to ask you because I don't remember. No, I remember the first time I spoke to you.
Yeah.
I don't... Actually, no, I'll take that back. I remember my earliest time speaking to you, but I don't know if that was my first time speaking to you. But I remember my earliest Himalaya memory. I've got that in my head.
Right. This is what I remember of us actually speaking, actually getting to know each other properly, was when we used to do badminton.
Is that your earliest H memory, though?
No. It probably would have been in a work setting, and you would have told me to do something because you're higher up.
Yeah.
And it would have been like that. That's where I see it happening. But
Okay.
yeah, that's where I remember seeing you, like, actually speaking to you.
Okay. I remember my earliest Himalaya memory was I was walking through the office and I stopped to speak to someone that you were sat next to who's a mutual friend of ours. And I was on the way to the canteen to get some food. And I said to that friend, oh, do you want anything? And he's like, no, I'm cool. And then I carried on walking. And it was only until I got to the canteen, I was like, there was a guy sat right next to that person. And I was like, I didn't ask him if he wanted a drink. And I was like, right, I'm going to turn all the way back and go ask him, because I thought that was quite rude because you had made eye contact with me. So I went all the way back and I was like, excuse me, mate, do you want anything from the canteen? I didn't even know your name at that point. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, no, thank you. And then the guy next to you was like, oh, that's so cool, man. You actually came all the way back. Mm-hmm. And then I went, and then that's my earliest H memory.
That's so much.
Himalaya memory.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember the exact moment the penny dropped and we became really good friends.
I think it was after the badminton stuff, 100%.
Yeah, badminton was definitely the starting point for it.
We did badminton, and I remember we went to the gym once with you.
Yes,
it was
you did.
Me, you and another mutual friend of ours.
Yeah, that same one, yeah. Yeah.
That was a good gym session. I remember, it's so crazy. That was the first gym session, and I still remember like it was yesterday because of the things that you were saying. In terms of fitness, you were on it already before. Yeah. And so I just remember we were doing chest press. And you're like, imagine there'd be a pen in the middle, so you can hold it. And I remember like, all right then, and it worked. The way I don't know.
Oh, did I say the pen thing?
Yeah, you said the pen thing.
Oh, I didn't know I told you that. I use that in my own head. Yeah, so if someone's doing a chest press, I always say, imagine there's a pen in the middle of your chest, and you're trying to not get it to roll off your chest. You can only squeeze your chest inwards, put it together, and try and get the pen to crack. Yeah, that's Oh, I didn't know I told you
Trust
that.
me, and that stuck me the whole time.
Fair enough.
But after the badminton and then the gym sessions, and then we started to actually hang out outside of work and go eat. Shout out to Ravioli's, it's no longer there anymore. Though,
Is it not there?
Their owners are gone now.
No.
Yeah, I thought you would have known.
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, I went for the last time a couple of weeks back, just to eat the chips.
What did they do? I know we're in the podcast, but did they do an announcement to say they were closing?
Yeah, it was on Facebook.
Oh wow, I feel wounded. Don't get me wrong, I have cheated on raviolis and had better masala chips since, but
Okay, I need to know
I've got to take you. Oh yeah, that was our go-to spot, wasn't it?
It was a go-to.
Actually, you know what? I can't think of when our best times were. Well, we've had a lot of best times, but when the relationship really escalated, it was World Cup last time round. Do you remember we used to go play pool at?
Yeah, it was was it the World Cup or the Euros?
It was the World Cup. It was the World
Cup.
Cup. Yeah. The last World Cup, we used to go watch it at the locker room.
Yeah.
We'd hire out the pool tables, and that's where we broke bread. And then at that point, obviously, we got introduced to raviolis around about the same time. That's where the relationship grew.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we met. And then, lots of conversations, and you just naturally click with people who are alike, I guess. Or not alike even. Sometimes you do attract to opposites, and then you bounce ideas and thoughts off of each other.
I think the thing that you feel when you become friends with someone is the pure, genuine feelings of the conversations and how that person acts around you with certain information. And that's one thing that drew me closer to you in terms of, like, you have such a good mindset with certain things, and of course everyone's working on themselves, but you can still work on yourselves and still have like an outlook that other people admire.
I'll tell you what's shocking about that statement is that you've probably largely based that on the conversation we had a couple of years ago, when I actually think you probably caught me at, I wouldn't say a bad place, because I don't think there's ever a bad place.
Right.
Even a bad place is a good place because you're learning from it. But you caught me at a time where I was like, I probably wasn't the best version of myself for everybody else.
Okay.
So the fact that you're saying that even then, it's like, okay, cool.
I mean, I definitely took that on.
But you were around and you were a witness to a lot of stuff though, so maybe that's the learning curve for you.
Yeah, maybe as well. Hey, I still appreciate the time.
I'm glad you appreciate it. Likewise. So yeah, that's your question answered. That's how we met.
Is there something else I can help with?
No.
Wow.
So relax, Harry. Not involved in it.
I didn't even know how to turn that off.
Okay. Have you ever been scammed?
I don't think I have. Define scam. As in, give me any example of scam, because the obvious is, did you get billed out of money from your bank?
Okay, so I'll give you one. I've been scammed many times before, okay? There was one time where I got an email saying, oh yeah, I can claim this back. So I obviously went on the email and tried to claim it back. And then luckily, 5 minutes later, I came to my senses and went, hang on, this is a scam. Called the bank up, luckily I blocked the thing and got a new card. But that was something that almost happened.
Okay, I've got an example of a scam, which I probably won't fully go into. You are aware of that scam.
Okay.
But sometimes people's fake personality is a scam.
Ooh.
And yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's a scam.
That is.
When someone sells you something in their personality, they're mis-selling you P.P.I. That's the scam right there. That's what I say all the time. I've probably done it, to be fair. Like, if I apply for a job, I don't ever shy away from saying it. I sell them the dream that you're about to get fucking Martin Luther King walk through the door. You're about to get the Messiah. And when I get there, I'm like, fucking, I hate the lot of you. I'm fucking sick of you, like, on day one. But yeah, I've been in that. That for me is the scam, is when you buy into someone's story about who they are. I think generally I'm a good judge of character, but there has been an occasion where someone really sold that they were,
It's the whole facade, right?
Yeah, and that's what I call the scam.
Yeah, and I think it's worse for people who give a lot. There's givers and takers in this world, and I think if you're attached to someone who has the fraudulent, what do you call it? The fraudulent personality.
Yeah.
Then you've got it sucks on us because we really believe that they're going to change and they're going to be different the next time, but it won't work. It won't work. People don't. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. And it's like 1 minute you're looking at someone and you're like, this ain't the person you were before. And then you're wondering, did you change? It's like, nah, you didn't change. You were a turd from the start, basically. It just took me a while to wipe off the polish.
Yeah.
But you can't polish a turd. A turd's a turd. That's it. That's it.
Facts.
That's funny how you use the word turd.
You can't polish a turd. That's what you are. It's as simple as that. So yeah, have I been scammed? Yes, Himalay, I have been scammed. I have been missold P.P.I.
Damn.
Poor personality integrity. That's what I'm going to call that.
Yeah,
I just thought of that.
There you go. That might be the title.
It might actually be. Yeah, next time I get a call saying, have you been missold P.P.I? I'm like, yes, Blender.
Yeah.
I fucking have.
Blender.
Pull up a chair. Let's talk about this.
Freaking out. What's a habit that you're glad you started?
Gym. This is where we're going to really get stuck in stuff. Gym is super important. I know it's, some people just do it for fun, which is fine if you do it for fun, but as long as you delve into it, the scientific and the spiritual benefits of it are just ridiculous. There's a saying that I've heard and I follow, which is a sound mind can only work in a sound body. You look after that and you'll make better decisions, you'll feel better, you'll thrive in work, you'll thrive in your podcasts and your passions. Everything about it is just, I love it. Every aspect of training. And I really do my stuff to like a super scientific level. Like, again, being a Kobe Bryant fan, that guy, obviously, I'm sure people have heard or seen his videos online where it says Mamba mentality. And I've literally studied every part of what he meant by that. And it was being the best version of yourselves, giving it your all, literally precision engineering every matter of whatever you're getting into. Yeah. So again, I've watched an interview with Dwight Howard, who was one of his teammates on the LA Lakers. This only came out like 2 weeks ago, and he's basically saying, he goes, I came to training one day and Kobe's there for a whole hour and someone's massaging his finger. Like literally like tugging on it and massaging it. That's how far he would take it, on top of the getting up at 3 a.m, doing 1,000 shots before leaving the gym. But he did all of that to hit his idea of perfection. And lo and behold, it worked. He's probably the greatest athlete that ever lived in basketball. So I try and follow that in my little gym routine in everything I do. So the early morning runs, the late gyms, the deadlifts, literally everything's done to precision. The nutrition's done to precision. Reading the books on mentality and motivation's precision. My sleep's done to precision as well. Yeah. As freaky as that sounds, like I actually know to the minutes when the perfect sleep is.
Oh shit! Do you think that varies for everyone, or? Yeah,
100%. You find out by default. So it's taken me a while, but I literally record my sleep and literally down to the minutes. So 7 hours, 13 minutes, 8 hours, blah 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 blah. Yeah. I've by default worked out anything less than 8 hours, exactly 8 hours. Luckily for me, I didn't have to go into too many minutes. I won't perform as well in the gym.
Really?
Yeah.
Just those minutes?
Yeah.
That's mad.
It makes that much of a difference. You can still go in and perform, but for me to get the most elite level performance out of myself, as crazy as it sounds, like, oh, what, you're that tapped that you're going to look at 8 hours sleep? Fuck yeah, I am. Like, that's my thing.
Right.
That's my little go-to place. So I literally study every single corner of it, and sleep happened to be one of them. So yeah, I know by default that anything less than 8 hours might be a bit of a struggle.
How important do you think sleep is? Because me personally, I think sleep is probably one of the most important things. Like, everyone does it. We all sleep, but no one really knows how important it really is.
Sleep's probably the most important thing around. People talk about, the 4 a.m. club or the no sleep gang. I think it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Don't come to me and tell me about the no sleep gang. I'm going sleep. Because... And don't get me wrong, people do like work with different levels of sleep. Like Margaret Thatcher is known that she only had 4 hours sleep. Great. That's good for you.
Yeah.
If that's the absolute maximum or the minimum she needed. I know I need more of that. Think about what happens when you don't sleep. You're cranky, you're pissed off, you don't really have a great day. The smallest thing ticks you off. Your relationships actually improve as well when you have a better sleep. Someone I know, who knew quite well, she was a single parent, and her son wasn't sleeping well. I remember I said to her, I goes, look, you need to force that boy into a routine. So, stop letting him watch Ickle Pickle, whatever it's called, till like 10 at night.
Yeah.
Force him into a routine, and it's going to be, 6-7 weeks of pain. But once you do get into that routine, it's going to be the best thing ever. She actually said to me after, and said to me about 3-4 months ago, she goes, it was the best advice I've ever been given, because she goes, I feel like my relationship with my 2-year-old has now improved off the back of knowing that he's had a better night's sleep and I've had a better night's sleep.
Right.
So yeah, sleep's very important. It depends the type of sleep you get. You get REM sleep, which is rapid eye movement, which is when you start dreaming. You get deep sleep, and then you get core sleep. You'll probably see this on your health apps on your Apple phones.
Right.
Again, you can see different levels. The core sleep is what you want to get into. That's when most recovery happens. It's also when improvements happen as well. So when you study at school and then you're trying to memorize the information, you're not actually memorizing it as you're writing it on the paper. The actual absorption happens when you're asleep. The improvements to your muscle after the gym happens while you're asleep. So it just makes for a better day. I think everyone should sleep.
Yeah. More.
More.
For you, less. 100%. She sleeps.
How long do you sleep?
I'm an oversleeper. I can say that much. But I'm more productive when I get 10 hours of sleep. And I've noticed that. And if I get less than 10 hours of sleep, I'll get a headache. Or a migraine, which is even worse. So it's like,
more power
there's a
to
lot.
you, sister.
Thank you.
You need 10 hours. You take the 10 hours.
Stop sleeping less. There you go.
No, because you get more done out of the day if you have at least.
See, I don't agree with that.
8.
I don't agree with that.
You
People,
don't think?
yeah, I used to be like that, as in like, okay, if I get up early, I'll get more done. I agree with that to an extent. Then you have to look at the quality of what you're getting done. So again, I'm going to use gym as an example. You might go at 4 a.m. I used to go at 4 a.m. and I think, right, empty gym, I'm going to get loads done. This is great.
Yeah.
I then suddenly switched to going at 12 p.m. because I'd have to force myself up to get up for 4. By going at 12, I would naturally wake up, 7, 8 o'clock? I've had that full cycle of sleep. Yes, the gym's busier at that time. Yes, there's some little weasel playing on his phone at that time on the bench that I want to use. But I noticed a huge improvement in my performance if it was 1 extra rep, 1 extra kilo, an extra set, going at a slower tempo. The quality of what I was getting done had skyrocketed. And I could only reach the best version of myself through that.
Right.
So I don't necessarily agree with people when they say by getting up earlier or going to sleep later, they're getting more done. I think, okay, that might be true, but how well are you getting it done?
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I work best under pressure. So for uni, I used to do a lot of all-nighters, like right before my deadline. And I'm the most productive at night. And I've noticed that because in the daytime, everyone's like, it's hustle bustle, people doing things, people are in and out of the house. And then night hits, everyone that I live with is asleep. And I'm the only one awake. I get to do whatever I want. I get to be as productive as I can be. I get to get my work done until morning time. You're all awake. I've been awake the whole night.
Right.
I get my work in. I celebrate. I go to bed.
Go to bed when we're all waking up.
Yeah.
I guess
But
you're
I
working
get
in your
it.
own
I get
time,
it done. I got my work done. To the best of my ability, and I'm happy with it. I've handed it in early. That's how I like to work.
Fair.
So, well, that was my uni life, anyways.
I guess if it works for you, it works for you, innit? It won't work for me, definitely not. I think that I'm a morning person for sure. I like waking up early in the morning when no one else is awake.
And if that works
Clears
for
my
you,
head, yeah.
that works for you.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So don't tell me to get less sleep.
I mean, sometimes it's a bit of a pain, I'm gonna lie. If we're all doing something all together, you know what I mean? Let's say the whole family's gonna do something, we're waiting on someone.
The one inconvenience.
Well,
I can imagine
I'm
in
worth
that
the wait.
scenario it would be a little bit of a piss take. It's like, all right, come on.
That's true.
Come on, Avesh, just get up now. You've got to go.
I'm up. It just takes me just to get ready. That's the difference.
Yeah, it does. Which is fine. Just don't waste our time.
I'm worth the wait, so fuck you.
Where's the wait? We have to wait. There's no option but to wait.
Good.
She knows her value. She's worth the wait, she says.
Yeah.
Jesus. So you're glad that you started the gym?
Yeah, I've learned a lot in doing it. Like I said, it might just be the gym. You learn about other stuff. You learn about nutrition. You look at other ideas. So, and it's taught me to open my idea or my thought process to other things. Just in an example of it here. She wants you to open up your thought process to knowing that sleeping 10 hours plus is acceptable. You're not going to get past that. He wants you to get up earlier and explore that there's a possibility you might get shit done sooner and not inconvenience Himalaya in his life
Yeah.
by doing so.
Yeah.
You're not going to come to that idea.
I've tried it.
But you tried it, and that's the important thing.
Yeah.
And that's what Jim's done for me. I've opened myself up to other ideas, like the concept of vegetables and veganism is now the new one on my radar.
Are you a vegan right
No.
now? Okay.
I'm not. I still eat meat.
Yeah.
But I've watched a few documentaries on Netflix, and I've been studying it about veganism and vegetarianism and pescatarian and what else. I wouldn't say any of it inspired me to go vegan, but it did inspire me to add more vegetables into my current diet.
Okay.
So I very slightly reduced the amount of meat or fish I'll have in exchange for getting some of the green stuff in. But there is a lot of good stuff to veganism. The problem with veganism is vegans at the moment.
What?
I will literally say it to all of their faces, which is, what you're doing is great, but your lot's approach about it is bullshit. Because every vegan I've come across so far, the first thing they say is, oh, you're killing animals, so you're a bad person. It's like them oil protesters on the motorway right now. Everyone knows what they're doing or what they're fighting for is right. But their approach of sitting on the motorway and inconveniencing everyone is pissing everyone off. It was the same with the Brexit campaign.
Right.
The reason why Brexit won is because the Brexiteer campaign was basically trying to highlight the benefits of leaving the EU. The people remaining weren't benefiting highlighting the benefits of remaining. They were highlighting why it would be bad to leave. They were trying to scaremonger people.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the vegans. I remember someone, she knows who she is. She's still one of my best friends. Tried veganism, comes in the morning after having her seeds for breakfast, whatever the hell she had, a chuckadee or whatever it is she had for breakfast. And she goes, I've become vegan and you're a bad person because you eat lamb and that's killed a baby lamb.
Oh no.
I was like, first of all, you drive a Mercedes C-Class which has got leather seats.
Oh no.
That leather didn't come from cactus, honey.
Yeah.
That came from an animal.
Oh, she didn't see that coming.
She didn't see that coming. Lo and behold, she had I think it was a Milky Way bar like 2 hours later and broke the whole vegan concept. But that's what ruins veganism, it's the people. Now, the actual vegan thing is actually pretty good. Like, there's a lot of benefits to it. Health benefits. You know, eating meat, as much as I enjoy it, you're putting something dead into your body. So you're just making your body a graveyard. Your body has become a graveyard. Whatever that animal was feeling at the time, the stress or whatever disease, you're then putting that into your body.
Right.
You're then carrying that stress into your body as well.
Okay. I think if you think of it like that, then yeah. But if you're putting into your own mind that you need this kind of protein, not need, but you want the protein to actually build the muscle and obviously the whole scientific process of it. If your mindset of it is like that, I don't think you're damaging your body. Whereas if you thought of it as, oh, I'm putting dead animals into my body, and it's going back to the veganism and how the people are, kind of like putting fear-mongering in.
It is. Okay, take that example out of it.
Okay.
Say that animal was ill and you've eaten it.
Okay.
Have you not put disease into your body?
Yes.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, we don't know.
You don't know.
We don't
And
know
if you
it's-
actually think about it, that's how the likes of things like coronavirus, I don't know how true that bat story was, but the AIDS story, I'm sure, is pretty much that way, isn't it? AIDS allegedly, so it's a disease amongst monkeys.
Okay.
And it was passed via them. The monkey, I think, attacked a cow or killed a cow or ate a cow or chewed on a cow and somehow passed the disease there. And then some human ate that cow, caught the disease.
Okay.
And then it was then passed amongst humans, but predominantly against gay people or amongst gay people. That's the story I've heard. I don't know how true that is.
Okay.
But yeah, you don't know what you're eating. So put it this way, if you're going to eat a cucumber, the cucumber's not carrying AIDS. The animal will is where I'm basically going with it.
Yeah, yeah.
So you don't know what it's carrying, but like I said, there's a lot of benefits to veganism. I actually learnt recently. So, actually, this fact has nothing to do with veganism, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it's still a good fact, so I want to throw it out
Go
there.
on.
I thought we were talking about this fact was going to be about veganism. So, back in the day in India, people would pull their food out the ground, wipe it down, cook, and they'd eat. When the British took over, they changed that and said, oh, that's disgusting. You got to hose it down, wipe all the soil off, cook it, eat it. That practice then changed. what people didn't realise is actually B12 in the soil.
Mm-hmm.
The level of B12 across India dropped because people started wiping the soil off of their vegetables, started cleaning it, giving it a good dishwasher cleanse.
Thinking it's clean.
That's, again, some of the stuff I've learned amongst this whole gymming process, which is the things that we've been taught that are good for you, as in wiping your vegetables down, actually isn't true. And it goes back to that concept I said earlier about we're told what to think. People in India were told, you got to wipe this down. Now we got to switch back to how to think. Actually, is there anything wrong with this soil going into my food?
Right.
And you can carry that into every aspect of your life. We've seen it happen with cannabis. Up until now, we've always been told it's a drug, it's bad for you. Lo and behold, now there's this whole big trend about actually there's health benefits for you. People are being taught how to think and making their own judgments. And you can see in other aspects of food as well. If you think about this, people will happily buy chickens from Tesco's full of water. 9 times out of 10, it's been jabbed by a steroid to get it bigger. A lot of people don't know that.
Right.
That chicken's probably been in a factory for about 10 days, in the back of a lorry for 2 days, and then lo and behold, it's in Tesco's, and then it makes it to your fridge. But yet people's health here is crap, and they don't want to blame the meat for it. It's like, have a think about actually how that meat came to you. Right. It's not a healthy way. Think back to now our ancestors in India. See a chicken, you kill it, you cook it, you eat it.
Yeah.
It's not spent all that time, degrading in a forest and stuff. So again, the dream for me would one day be to be able to have my own chicken farm and my own vegetables full of soil.
Yeah.
No pesticide over it. When I tell people that fact about, taking your soil off, they're like, oh, that's a really good fact, but I'm still going to wash my stuff. I'm like, you wash it, but there's probably full of chemical all over it now.
Ignorance is a bliss.
It totally is. It totally is. But if I can encourage people to do one thing, is just make your own judgment on something. So I do question why I do a lot of stuff. So when I was washing my lettuce one day, that's actually what triggered me to go look at it to say, why do we actually wash this out? What's actually wrong with the soil on it? It's come out of God's earth, so take it. But yet people are happy to have pesticide all over their stuff.
Right.
I know that was really long-winded, but it was just...
It's good to know.
Everything falls back into just shifting that thinking of, okay, I know we've been taught to do this way. How about I do it my way? Yeah. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
I think that a lot of people have fallen into the trap. I mean, we do it all the time, of the convenience of things. People don't want to really think about things long enough to be like, oh, actually, let's not do that, because of the convenience.
Oh yeah,
it's just so convenient.
It's convenience and it's ego. I'll share one more example with you that probably most people can relate to, and it's about the office environment. People worked at home from COVID. Lo and behold, all these companies started saying we want people back in the office, hybrid working, 2-3 days in the office and 3-4 days, or 2-3 days at home.
Yeah.
People have kicked off saying, I don't want to come in the office at all. I want to be full-time at home. I'm one of them people. If you actually ask them senior managers, why are we, or like, what's your beef with people just staying at home 5 days a week? They don't actually know the answer. They'll come out with some bullshit. Oh, we love our people. We want to integrate, blah, blah, blah. No, you don't. You don't love your people. Because would you invite them round to your house for dinner? You wouldn't. Yeah. So you don't love them. It all comes back to an ego of, oh, well, if I have to be in the office, you have to be here as well. Right. I share that example because a lot of people can relate to it. And where I've just left a couple of months ago, I felt like they had that problem. They were like, we want people back in the office 2-3 days a week. Okay, Susan, why do you want people back in the office 2-3 days a week? Because we really like our people. No, you don't. You don't. You don't. It's just... And again,
I'm in there, so you've got to be there too, okay?
Yeah, it's like, just at least be truthful to yourself. And I do think it's a lot of it to an ego. And I always think... I remember saying to that manager, I goes, look, actually ask yourself, what would be the big deal if we said to these people, just work at home 5 days a week?
I'd see the problem in it.
Go on, what's the problem?
I think communication is a big problem. I think if people are at home, you can drop a message to someone, you won't know when you're going to get the reply back. Whereas if you're in the office, you could go to the other person, listen, yo, can you sort this out? Yeah, cool.
That then becomes, for me, a performance concern. So the caveat I've got on everyone that I say to, in my role, work from home is, if I don't get the adequate communication I need or your performance drop, you will be back in the office 5 days a week until that improves.
Right.
That's the respect you give back for working from home. Let's not shy away from working from home. Everyone does all sorts. I admit it. I openly tell my manager, if I want to go cut my grass, In between, I'm going to cut my grass. If I'm going to put something in the washing machine, if I need to go post office, if there's Amazon deliveries, that's just life. Get over it. Like, what's the actual big deal if you do that?
Yeah.
And again, I've worked with managers in the past who are like, oh, we don't trust, this was before COVID, we don't trust people working from home, you know. What if they go wash their dishes? So, get the fuck over it. As far as I'm concerned, as long as come Friday, you've done everything I asked you to do on Monday, the means of it don't really mean anything to me.
Yeah.
But some people are emotional. They want to know the means as well.
Yeah. I'm a bit weird, you know. I don't like working at home.
Do you
There's
not?
something about it that really puts me down in a mental state. So as soon as I got asked to go back into the office, I happily went back. Even though it was really traumatic for the first time, like I had a lot of social anxiety going back in. Once I got over it, I started to open up again. Being a bit more me and being bit more lively and, you know. But that, I guess that's just me, innit? Like
each of their own. Whatever works for you works
Yeah.
for you. Personally, I think it's because your desk's right next to your bed. Because I had that same problem. My desk was next to my bed, and then I created a separate room.
Yeah.
And then I actually felt like I am going to work.
Right.
Whereas when I had my bed next to my desk, I would literally look at the bed and think, I miss you. And I would go jump in that bed in between meetings.
I didn't touch my bed at all. I was good with it. First, it was just waking up 5 minutes before. Then I got tired of that because I was like, okay, it doesn't feel like separation or anything. Then I started to dress to work, but be sitting on my desk. And because I was in my room after, here's what it was actually, finish at 3 o'clock, I'd sit on my desk for about 45 minutes, scrolling on my phone. Or I'd just turn around and turn the Xbox or the PS on, be on that. And I think when I got into the office, the separation of the work life and home life got better for me.
Fair enough. If it worked for you, it worked for you.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because you were like constantly in this environment for work, and then also like because this is your room.
It drove me crazy. I swear. Now
It was good to get out though.
Yeah, but sometimes I'll be like, okay, I can't be asked to go to work. So if there's overtime, let me work from home. Overtime, I'll work from 6 till 4. I don't mind. I can't get into the office, but
Hey, milk it. Milk it. Why drive into the office or get to the office, pay bus fare, taxi, petrol for overtime to do it here?
yeah.
I was gonna say, do you think it would be a bad thing if people got too comfortable in their own environments? Like if they were constantly working at home and like, you know, doing everything at home.
It's not even just about work though. It's about anything. If you get too comfortable, because you don't want to strive to do anything, you don't want to move into actually getting things done. Now, if you're content with things, that's different. I think being content and being comfortable, right? What do you think about it? Do you think they're the same thing?
No, they're definitely not the same thing. But I do think there is a detriment to staying indoors, like completely, or working from home, because this then becomes your comfort environment, and then all of a sudden, what was previously, oh, let me go see my friend at work, is you going outside of your comfort zone. That should never have been going outside of your comfort zone. That was just, I'm going to work.
Yeah.
So you're actually going further into your comfort zone the more you restrict yourself. That's the way I look at it anyway.
No, I see it like that as well.
Let's know.
Okay. What's the hardest truth pill you've ever had to swallow?
Hardest truth pill? Fucking hell, that someone missold me P.P.I.
Recycled.
That is a hard truth pill to swallow at the time.
Yeah.
That's definitely up there. What other hard truth pills have been there? At one time, knowing that I needed to change a certain aspect of my personality was probably a hard truth pill. But as I've got older, I've realised that's not actually it's no longer a hard pill. In fact, I look for them pills and I call them vitamins now.
Yeah.
They're not pills. You need that shit. You know, when people say, oh, you know, I would never change for anybody. I'm the same I was. All right, well, you're still the same twat you were 20 years ago then, weren't you?
Yeah.
Of course you should change. You know, you can tell me you didn't grow.
It's inevitable, I think, change.
Yeah,
course it
change
is.
is the only constant.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
So I think that was the hard pill to swallow at one point. Like I said, as you get older, your perspective and your how to think changes, and you think, actually, I need some of this. So yeah.
What made you want to change it though?
I'm trying to think of a specific example I can use. It's tough when you're on the spot. Probably situation, or whatever your situation is at the time. You might be in a different work situation, a different family situation, a different relationship that requires you to be a different person, or requires you to build up a lagging trait, and you realise that, oh shit, this is going to be a bit of a tough one because I'm having to change something or undo something that I've known for a long time. That's the hard pill to swallow. And then you hurdle over it. Like I said, embrace the change. Half the difficulty is actually embracing it. Once you get over that hurdle, it's actually pretty easy.
Yeah.
I always find the more you try and push something back, the harder it is to accept after.
Do you think it's the ego that stops you from embracing it?
I mean, it might be for some people, but for me, it was just laziness previously. I won't even deny that. I was just like, oh, why don't you change for?
Right.
But like I said, as you get older, you do realise actually there's more benefits of me overcoming this and making that change than for me just staying where I am at the moment.
Yeah.
I would love to have an example for this right now, but I honestly don't.
I don't think you need an example. I think that says it
Yeah.
perfectly, to be honest. Because I think my truth pill was, I think just nothing comes easy. I don't know why. I think growing up, I just thought like everything I've had, or everything that's gone on in my life, it kind of just happened, and I accepted it. And I was like, cool, okay, that's how life is going to be like. Then when the hardship started to come through when you get older, you got to put your head down and be like, well, you got to just take a step back, and just say, okay, well, clearly something needs to be done.
That hardship came to make you change how you were thinking. That's what I believe. And it would have kept coming until you had learnt it.
It's just a lesson. It's just lessons, isn't
that's one of the lessons of life that you'll probably read in the Veda text of Sanskrit one day. It actually says the life will keep sending the same lesson back to you over and over again until you learn it.
Yeah.
In different forms. You might think this is a totally different situation, but the actual lessons within it, you think, actually, I swear I've been through this shit before. When I really get to the core of what it is, it's going to keep coming your way until you learn from it. So that happened. That was a good thing. That's
100% good thing.
Now do you look back at it and think that was a vitamin?
It's the best thing that ever happened to me because, again, I'm growing still. I'm still growing. I think I'm going to be still growing when I'm 75. I think that's how I want it to be. I want things to be hard because if it wasn't hard, I feel it wouldn't be worth it. Not everything, but most things that you really desire, it's going to be hard. It's going to take time.
It does. And it also adds to your capacity to be able to deal with it. I actually remember about 2 years ago, I don't know if you remember this, you messaged, or I messaged you, we were talking over WhatsApp. I remember, I was like, how you doing? You said something along the lines of, oh, I've got a lot on at the moment, just a lot of mental strain. Maybe it was to do with work or whatever it was. I remember I said to you on message, I think that's a good thing. And then and you put why. I've actually still got these messages on my phone somewhere. And I said to you, because if you find yourself in the same situation next time, you'll know how to deal with it because you've expanded your ability to be able to deal with that much stress.
Right.
And then I remember you came back and said, oh, that's actually a good way to look at it. Again, the gym reference is you do 5 reps of a bicep curl and you think, well, I can't do any more. Lo and behold, you go to the gym 2 days later, all of a sudden you can do 6. You've expanded your capacity to be able to deal with it. Right. And it's the same thing with the mentality. So if you do find yourself in stressful situations, when you're in a similar situation the next time, it's not necessarily that you know how to deal with it, but you've already dealt with that much stress that you're like, okay, well, I've been through this amount of stress before, so I can cope with it. I could probably cope with a bit more, and the next time a bit more.
Yeah.
They're good things to have in your back pocket. That's why we all look back. That's why we all look back and say, "I would love to go back and do GCSEs again." Has no one? Have we not all said that? I say it all the time. I would love to go back and do.
No, thank you. I'll stay away from it, brother.
Okay, not GCSE, SATs.
SATs. Mine was definitely SATs. I was like,
I'll stay away from it. Do you know what it was? Anything to do with education just threw me off. Like the first thing, but I think that's because I was it was just me being very childish and stubborn about education. I think when I got thrown into it, I was just like, why am I doing this? What am I learning this for? I don't get it. And then, when I got out and I started to learn things for myself, then I was like, see, I enjoy this type of learning. Things that actually, I don't know, just matters to me.
Yeah, you do enjoy things more when they actually matter to you.
Yeah.
Like, I do always think back and think, well, what was the point in learning about Bunsen burners and trigonometry and stuff? And I said this to like one of the kids in our family actually, because she said a similar thing. Like, I'm never going to use a Bunsen burner. I'm never going to use trigonometry. I said, I agree with you. You ain't going to use none of that. But that's not what the school's trying to teach you. They're trying to teach you about stress management, meeting deadlines, preparing for exams, having the discipline to do your homework. They're the actual lessons. No one cares about the Bunsen burner and the frog you're going to dissect, as fun as that was. They're the things that everyone overlooks. That's the actual lesson you're taking, which is stress and deadlines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The actual content, I mean, fuck all.
That's what I was saying. I think school does teach you about structure. I mean, 8 till 3? Is that, what is it? 8 till 3?
Yeah.
8 till 3, that's the work environment, right? Roughly.
Mm.
You do have your lesson 1, lesson 2, break. Lesson 4, lesson 3, lesson 4, lunch. It's that regiment, the routine that you get from school. And then you take that on with life, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of good things from it.
Right.
There's a lot schools could add. I didn't learn anything about mortgages till I was in my 20s, or interest rates, or how to change a socket, how to change a light bulb. They're the kind of things you weren't taught in school.
Very practical things, that you're going to need in life.
Yeah, how to change your tyre on the side of a road, how to give someone CPR.
Our school did do that.
Our school did do that, yeah.
Luckily.
But we never dissected a frog.
You didn't?
No.
We kind of... I don't know what animal it was, to be honest with you. I know it was pretty...
Ew!
I'm sure I just remember it ended up being splattered against the window.
This one, you looked it.
No, I've held a snake at school. I've held 2 snakes at school, but we never dissected anything. No.
Interesting. What about you then? What's your truth pill? What's the hardest truth pill you've had to swallow?
It was very recent, actually. I need to stop letting go of things.
Stop letting go.
Stop letting go of things. Because I feel like I let go of a lot of things. Like, when I'm hurt, I cry about it, I get over it, and I'm over it. Like, I'm like, it's fine, it happened. You know, I like to move on very quick.
Okay.
But some things, if it's like repetition, like you said, like if it's like constantly you're being tested with these same things, you have to make a change if it's hurting you that much. So yeah, I need to stop letting go of things. And if something hurts my feeling, like speak up in the moment instead of just like hold it to myself.
I get what you're trying to say, but it sounds... I think that you're using the word... The wording is kind of wrong. I think...
I would just say speak up
personally, me, letting go of things is a good thing. Right? But I see what you mean by... I think you're lying to yourself when you try to let go of it. Like, you're saying, it's fine, it doesn't bother you, but it really does bother you.
So that's why I need to speak up more, and to be able to prevent feeling that hurt and like that down and shitty and upset about things. Yeah, like stop suppressing my feelings.
Stop lying to yourself, basically. Stop lying to yourself. Trying to say that you're okay when you're not okay.
Like, stop holding it all in and bottling it all up until, like, the stupidest little thing will be your trigger, and then that's it, you're off, like, that's it. Mental breakdown starts, you know? Because I've found that I tend to do that a lot. Like, I'll let go of things easily, be like, okay, and then suddenly it's all building up, slowly.
Right.
And then I'm just one little thing, like, say you come home and call me a dickhead or something, and that never triggers me. But if I'm like in that kind of mood, that'll trigger me.
So that's not letting go, that's avoiding it. There's a difference, because it's still there. You've not actually let it go. It's still bubbling up.
Yeah.
And it just took Himalaya to say dickhead to trigger you. So it was always there. You just buried it under a
That would never trigger me, by the way. That would make me laugh.
Do you know what the mad thing is? I think a lot of people do that. How you say that you allow it to build up until one little thing that doesn't even has to do with any of that triggers you, and you go off for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And, then you're in the shitter because...
That's what avoiding it does, though.
Yeah.
I've actually observed, I'm not saying this is the case for everyone, that's actually the case with relationships in what generally guys will do versus what girls will do. Girls will cry, they'll dissect a tub of Ben and Jerry's, get the girls around, discuss it, talk about it. Your guys be like, right, I'm back out on the pool, I'm going clubbing, go out drinking. They've avoided it. By doing that, and it hits them much later, 6-7 weeks down the line, that they're then crying to their mates, I've messed up, I need to get back with her, and then they're already going back to the girl. By that point, the girl's already moved on because she's got it out of her system because she addressed it with her friends.
Yeah.
So she's actually let go of it. The guy's avoided it, thinking he's let go of it, and then it just takes one trigger for them to go back down.
Yeah.
But I see it that way, but also I think sometimes guys don't know how to deal with that emotion. And so they do go and drink themselves fucking drunk and try to have sex with anyone that they see.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one, that.
It's just the way things are addressed. That's actually where the whole mental health thing comes up. It's because guys generally don't know how to cope with these things. They find these coping mechanisms, which is actually, in my eyes, avoiding mechanisms. Whereas women will talk.
Yeah.
Guys don't.
That's
Generally.
the thing. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, I'll deal with it later. Like a lot of the time. Like recently that happened. I was like, okay, a lot of shit's getting to me right now. I'll deal with it later. Right now I'm doing something. I have to be productive. I have to focus on it. And so I was like, okay, right now I just need to be on focus mode, go mode, get done what I was doing. And so like these little things kept coming up and they were irritating me and they were making me realise things about myself, and it was all happening at once, and I was like, I need to just have a breather. Yeah.
I think we all have to go through it though. It's all a lesson at the end of the day.
Yeah. It's about how you get back up. It's about how you get back up from it, I believe. Because, like, even, like, for example, today I'm still feeling, like, slightly down by it because this happened very recently. And then all the things I've realised, I've just taken it into, like, perspective. And I'm like, okay. And now I've realised what was going on. Now I know what to do about it. I can be more productive. I can do that. I can focus on myself. I can take a couple of hours to just, calm down. To remind myself everything's fine, you're okay. And then move on.
You need to chill out a bit.
Yeah. It was like so much stress, all of this building up, and had a breakdown, got back up, and now it's just still getting back up.
When's the last time you cried?
I actually can't remember. I'm not going to sit here and say it was when I was 5.
Right.
Because it wasn't. It has happened. Well, it's definitely happened in the last year.
Is it because there's just been so many blessings in your life that you're like, you just carried on with life?
No, I just have nothing to cry about.
Nothing to cry about?
No. I found myself getting emotional about positive thoughts.
Yeah.
Thinking, damn, I'm grateful for where I was. I actually use that as part of gratitude. You know, people practice gratitude.
Yeah.
I deliberately forced myself to think how I felt a couple of years ago when things were crap, like when my car broke down one day. And I remember thinking, fuck, what the hell is this? Now I've got, in my eyes, the flyest car around, the Batmobile, the Black Panther, and I love it. And then that kind of triggers the emotion. You know, when you see these things about manifestations and stuff, and it always says, don't just have the thought, have the feeling behind it.
Right.
I try and force that thought of, I felt super shit, and now I feel super great.
Yeah.
And it just elevates that gratitude.
Yeah.
But crying-wise, I don't know. I think, again, the death of Kobe Bryant was pretty upsetting. I don't think I cried, but that was...
Yeah, it was close
to tears.
That was
Deep shit, yeah.
Close to tears.
That hurt.
It's fair. I just thought I'd ask. I don't know.
That was a good question to be
I honestly can't remember. I actually, honestly, genuinely can't. I wish I could remember.
And I don't think you have to cry. I think that everyone has different ways of dealing with grief, and not even grief. Sometimes, like you said, gratitude. You can have tears of gratitude.
Yeah. When was the last time you cried?
Last week. Last week.
Over.
But it's not even about over something. It's more of the fact that I like going back to letting things build up too much.
Yeah.
Taking on too much and still trying to avoid, which was the right word to use, how I actually feel. And once I allowed myself to actually embrace that feeling of the unknown and not knowing what the fuck I'm trying to do with my life and blah blah blah, when I cried and I came out of it, like every time you cry, it feels great.
That's a different kind of cry. That's not an emotional cry in my eyes, because an emotional cry is a reaction to something like a death or a breakup.
Right.
That's a cry of you've held it together too long and the wall just finally broke.
Right.
That for me is not an emotional. I mean, it is, but it's not. It's yeah. You've been strong for so long that you just had to be like, right, this is my moment.
Right. Yeah. But that's the last time I cried. Last week.
Mine was yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah. I was having a deep chat with Mum about everything and But it was good. It was a good cry, you know?
Fair.
Once you're over everything that's happened and you're like, I'm ready to finally get back up.
Emotional resets. That's what they are.
Yeah.
Great feeling though.
Yeah.
Now this is a bit of a silly one, but I don't know, I just thought about it and I'll throw it in there.
Go on, hit me with it.
Do you think everyone would benefit from getting 100k each? Like everyone in the world right now, there's 8 billion people, right? But there's billionaires who have like 300 plus billion. If everyone just had 100k each, do you think that would benefit everyone?
Including them billionaires, if they were then limited down to just 100k each.
No, they'd still have whatever they have.
They would just get an additional 100k.
They don't have to get anything.
Okay,
They've already
but
got
all us basic people get 100k?
Yeah.
No, it's not going to benefit.
I don't think it would either.
Because you're just going to be in the same boat where you were before. Does that make sense?
Because
hyperinflation, they call it.
I agree, because it's also the fact that it's not like money's going to solve the problem, because the problem is not you don't have enough money. I think the problem is you don't know what to do with money. People don't know how to invest or just learn about how money works. Because when you grow up, you don't get told how money works.
No, you don't. That's one of the things that's absent from school.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get taught about stocks and shares. You don't get taught about crypto. That's fairly new.
Yeah.
Imagine if they did teach them kind of things in school. A lot of information out there is pretty shit for us. And then everyone's kind of subject to what they see on like social media and TikToks and stuff. I don't know if you saw on Instagram that someone did an interview where they're saying the algorithms of what's on TikTok in China is controlled by the government. And they deliberately force feed the country stuff around intelligence and money and crypto and business because they want an intelligent nation, population. Here, you see someone getting happy slapped with a fish. that's what's being manifested here in this country. So yeah, I don't think anyone's going to benefit from 100k each.
Right.
If someone wants to give me 100k, we can talk.
If I won the lottery and got that much money.
Yeah. But even with that, I think if I had won the lottery, I'd straight away get someone who knows more about money than I do, because I don't know what the fuck to do with it.
Do you think that feels like a cheat code? What? Like, if you won the lottery, it's like you didn't earn the money.
I don't think it's a cheat code, because again, it goes back down to what you do with the money, not how much you have.
Yeah.
Because you can just have 100k and then blow it in the next 6 months, and then you're back to ground one.
Well, that's what happens with most people. The amount of documentaries that I've watched where they said more lives have been ruined from winning the lottery, because you're given literal power overnight. Money is equivalent to power.
Yeah.
You were literally broke one day, or you're not even broke, just basic, and the next day you've got 100 million or 60 million sat in your account. You will go a little bit nutty. You can see that stuff on YouTube. People have said, yeah, we've ended up in asylums because we just lost the plot.
Yeah.
For a long time, I actually said to myself, I wouldn't want to win the lottery because I think I would be that guy that goes a bit loopy.
I'm not sure I understand.
You don't understand. I've pictured me doing some weird shit with that money.
Yeah.
Like really, really messed up shit.
Okay.
Okay. That sounds...
I can tell you the first thing I would do, and I've been very open about this. I wouldn't do it where I work now because I like the place. I told my sister this, that if I won 100 mil, I would drive to work drunk with my friends, all of you guys, hire out some range, say we're all going to work.
Let's go.
I'm going to take my CV there, slam it on my manager's desk, and then take a dump on her desk.
Oh yeah, while she's there.
While she's there and while I'm drunk.
Okay.
And say, here's what I think of your job. And then walk out the building.
Nice.
That's how it would start.
Make sure you wipe though after.
No,
No,
I'd wipe with the CV.
Yeah.
With the CV, yeah.
And you'll be drunk as well at that point.
Yeah, I don't even care. I remember I told my sister, like, you end up in prison. I'll have money, I can pay my way out. That's a different kind of...
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's not, I'm buying a couple of Teslas. I'm going really nuts. So yeah, I said for a long time I don't think I'd want to win it, but now, again, being older, I'm like, I wouldn't mind a couple of mil.
Yeah.
I think now I
wouldn't mind it.
I think now I could cope with it.
Yeah.
I think if everyone truly asked themselves, could I cope with that much money overnight? They'd say, yeah, of course I could, but they couldn't.
I think I could now. Before, if you told me, I'd say no. But I'd say yeah, but I would be lying because I'd assume that I'd know what I'm going to do with it. I think I've spent way too much time now thinking if I did win the lottery, what to do with it. And so I'll have some sort of knowledge of what to do with it. No, but that's only because it took me ages to actually think about what the fuck, how money works. That's what it is.
Give me your first three things.
First three things.
Give me the first three things that you would do if you won 50 mil overnight.
Okay, paying off the mortgage.
Yeah.
I am clearing everyone's debts. When I say everyone's, I mean like close family,
Mhm.
whoever. If they want to take it, cool. If not, it's up to them, innit?
Mhm.
I'm not gonna force it. And then I would I'd split the money
Mhm.
into different banks
Mhm.
and let interest grow onto that.
Okay, I'm gonna throw another question out there. Yeah.
Okay.
You win 50 mil.
Okay.
Could you see just a yes or no? Could you see yourself giving any amount, whether it's £1, 50,000, or a mil, to any of your friends?
Yes.
Now pick 5 friends.
5 friends.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the names. I'm not saying the names.
This is
There'll
like
be
off.
the anarchy. There'll be an anarchy.
That's what I was trying to reel you into. Like,
yeah.
put it on camera,
Yeah.
Humilate.
No chance. Could you? 5.
Yeah.
I could, definitely. But here's the thing. I think the friends that I have, like, if we're going to be real about it, the friends that I have are not the friends that are going to take it. Do you get me? They're going to be like, that's nice and all, but I don't want it.
Yeah.
Then again, I don't know if I'm flashing a mill. I don't know.
I know.
A million.
You're waving that in their face, yeah.
They're like, oh fuck, man, I've got fucking, I need to pay for petrol tomorrow. Yeah, I'll take it. That's a good one though.
Actually, if you did have the 5 friends, you have to name them, but would they all get the same amount?
Yeah.
Okay.
They'd get the same amount.
What would the amount be? If you won 50 mil, what would be
Milli.
the £1,000,000 each?
Milli. 5 friends, 5 milli. Go on, 45 left for me.
Okay, fair enough.
Then it's like the case of, are they going to start asking for more? Then it's like, I don't think the friends that I'm got in my head would ask for more because they are grateful for whatever they'll get.
Am I one of the 5?
Of course you are. Of course you are.
Only because I asked.
You are one of the 5.
That's what I was really going with it. I don't really care about the other 4
fair,
people.
fair, fair.
I just want to know if I was one of the 5.
You'll definitely be, because again, I'm looking at it. Okay, no, that's a bad way to look at it. Because I was going to say, oh, how much I've got out of that person, but that's not the case. I think it's more of the impact that people have given me, innit? The impact. So.
You're in my 5. I've known that for a long time.
Oh, perfect. I'll be happy with that. Yes.
It didn't
You
take
guys
for
are
me
just
to.
plumbing for the
It
future.
didn't
Okay,
take for me
so-
to ask probing questions to get that information. But yeah, you're in my top 5.
Top 5. It's funny, we both could be saying it, but we're like, nah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guess you'll never know.
Yeah, we'll never know. What problem would you want to solve? Could be a world problem, could be a small one, doesn't matter. What problem would you want to solve?
I've got 2. I've got one that springs to mind, but I need a spiritual one as well. So I'll come to the spiritual one in a second. First problem is, I'm not even going to say it in a nice way. Fat people need to not be fat. Simple as that. I don't care about fat shaming. I get the whole, big is beautiful, blah, 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 blah. But there is still underlying health issues with fat people.
Right.
It's as simple as that. If you're genetically fat, I can understand that. If you're genetically low metabolism that leads to you be fatter, I'm sympathetic with that.
Right.
If you're fat because you're just choosing to eat everything, you need to solve that.
Yeah.
It will lead to health conditions. It will lead to mental health issues. You need to fix that.
But-
And that is a pandemic.
And I think we should clarify, not fat people, like, if you're happy being the weight that you're at, and you're not complaining about it, whatever. It's your life.
I don't even agree with that.
I think the people who complain about it, that's what I'm saying.
I don't
something
think
about
any
it.
of them complain about it until they end up in the NHS and like, oh, why is the waiting time so long? Why is your waist so long? Fucking hell, like,
Why is your weight so long?
why is your waist so long? Like, they might be happy with it at the time, but
Yeah.
it does catch up to you, and you will end up, whether you accept it or not, with some kind of health condition. And I know that's probably going to piss a lot of people off because they know someone or relate to someone with
Yeah.
that issue. I'm related to them with that issue, with people with them issues, but I'm prepared to say it how it is. Yeah, I'll even say it in the nice way, which is, all right, cool, you need to lose some weight, you're a bit big. But for the bluntness, right now, fat people need to not be fat. I'm not saying be slim, but just be mindful you're carrying more weight than your skeletal
I agree. In terms of like,
should be holding.
if you are struggling with your health and you don't know how to deal with that. There's so much information that you can get by yourself just by going to the internet or even looking on books and stuff if you wanted to. But that's only if you're willing to. Like, you can't just expect it to happen straight away.
Yeah, of course. And like I said, I know a lot of people will be offended by me saying that, but I had to say something controversial for a start because it's needed. So, yeah. We do need a controversial statement. It can't all be nicey. Mm-hmm. And like I said, everyone knows someone fat or related to someone fat. I've got plenty of them.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It will catch up with you. It is. I don't care what anyone says. It's a pandemic. When this country says 1 in 4 people are classed as obese, it doesn't get more pandemic than that. Yeah. 1 in 4 people don't even have COVID. So yeah, that needs to be solved. In terms of the spiritual, people just being free thinkers, that needs to be solved because I feel like everyone's just trapped in a box.
Yeah.
Not to say that I'm not trapped in a box. Probably elements of me that are still quite limited in my thinking.
Yeah.
But just broadening your horizons, experiencing new things, I think everyone needs to do that. Because it will expand your...
I agree. You start to see the world differently.
Perspectives change. And when your perspectives change, you appreciate them things. And naturally, the world becomes a better place. You know, like the Miss World always say, I wish for world peace.
Yeah.
It will actually come off people actually broadening their horizons and expanding on their personalities first.
I like that last one though, the spiritual one.
The free thinkers.
Yeah. There needs to be more free thinkers, but that's the problem that you want to solve.
Yeah, there needs to be free thinkers, but there shouldn't be stupidity with that as well. So I know Kanye West at the moment is considering himself a free thinker, and if you watch his interview with Piers Morgan talk about anti-Semitism and all that bloody, I think he's just full of shit personally. I like the guy. I love his music. My favourite all-time song is one of his. But the shit he comes out with, I'm like, oh, are you a free thinker or are you just a twat? There's a difference between the two.
I think he likes people getting mad at him. And so
it's
he
marketing.
Says, like you said, not contradicting things, controversial things.
It sells.
It sells, it just does. People will be like, oh, he can't say, you're not allowed to say that. Oh, it's freedom of speech. You're allowed to say certain things. Obviously, you're going to be offending people, but you're still allowed to say it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What do you think about cancel culture? You literally triggered it by what you just said.
What do you think about it?
I mean, most of the cases I've seen, I think, is bullshit. The whole cancel culture, like, Piers Morgan's probably the first person that comes to mind. Cancelling for what? The guy's got an opinion. But again, the whole freedom of speech thing and having an opinion shouldn't be a clause to then go and openly offend people. You can be free speech, but in a sophisticated and educated way, and an intellectual way. If you're gonna have people out there that are just insulting and then insulting a group of people, whether it be their religion, race, or whatever prophets they believe in, that's not freedom of speech. You're just insulting someone. There's again a difference. But coming back to cancel culture, I don't really agree with it because most cases I've seen it's just because someone had an opinion. Piers Morgan had it because he wasn't too fond on Meghan Markle, and he called her out on it. People didn't like that, and then all of a sudden said, "Oh, you're a racist," which I thought was bullshit. I actually remember watching the GMB interview with Trish Goddard. She came onto his show, and she actually turned around and said to him, after he was saying, "Look, I don't agree with what Meghan Markle's saying. I hope your son ends up with a black woman one day." And the way she said it was like it would be a bad thing if his son did. And I was like, you've just totally just made yourself look like a twat. But the whole nation was like, oh, good on you, well done, let's clap for you, Trish. I'm like, clap for what? The guy wasn't calling out anyone's race.
Yeah.
And he even said, he goes, I'd love it if you got with a black woman. Good for you. Do what you want. But that was the first thing she sprung to. And then the whole cancel culture came in. I think it's stupid.
I think cancel culture, like everything that starts off as something that's supposed to be good, becomes bad because now it's become a trend. It's no longer a culture, it's a trend. People jump on it because other people are doing it.
Yeah.
That's just my
And
opinion.
people do get offended at dumb shit. Like, do
Yeah.
you remember the whole Kevin Hart thing? People trying to cancel him because he said something about the homosexual community
Right.
several years earlier.
Mm.
The guy's job's a comedian.
Right. Yeah, I know. Like, why are you offended by what a comedian is saying? That's his whole job. That's the point. That's the whole point.
No, that's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Too many snowflakes out there.
That's that. Yeah, too many snowflakes, and I don't agree with that. Dragging things from the past into now and saying that person is that person. No, that person was that person yonks ago.
Mm.
Yeah.
People change, but I guess people don't see people change. They see what they want to see, and then they just run with it
Mm-hmm.
without actually thinking about it.
Yeah. Personally, I also don't agree with cancel culture. I think it's bullshit. It is a trend, and it's annoying because we're all humans at the end of the day, and we're all gonna make mistakes, regardless of what their mistakes are. So we shouldn't be called out for it, or well, maybe we should be called out for it, but we shouldn't be blasted for it and be like,
Totally.
you can't do this, you can't say this, you can't. Like, who the hell are these people to say someone can't do something?
Yeah.
You know, like if they're gonna have that realization and actually change about it, it has to come from within, because you have to be willing to change. And if you don't want to change about that, it's not gonna come. Like, yeah, simple as.
Yeah. What ordinary place can you appreciate more today?
That's a hard question. Because I don't know what it means.
The great thing about this question is you can interpret it whatever way you want.
Say it again.
What ordinary place can you appreciate more today? What's an ordinary
one.
place?
Relatives' houses that don't live in the same city as me, because we could just go and have a good time.
So how did you interpret this question?
An ordinary place that I can appreciate more, right? Is that what it says? Yeah, I appreciate the fact that we have relatives that live like all over the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So when we do travel to a different city and we have relatives that live there, we're able to come through and, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Okay. I interpret it as a place that you've always seen and you've always gone through and you're always there.
Mm-hmm.
But what's one place like that you've always gone to you can appreciate today? I've always the last few I've put on, I put my bedroom, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I appreciate my bed. Sometimes I take this room for granted, for example, because I'm in it all the time. But if I just take a step back and be like, well, I'm grateful, like, I get to be in this room. Like, I'm grateful I've got a bed that I can sleep on and I've fucking got lights and it can be warm and, you know, I don't know, it's my place. It's my palace.
Yeah. I'd say the view then, the view that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, in front of our house, because there's randomly like horses that escape and then they're just there and I'm like, oh my god, there's a horse. Yeah, because I don't normally get to see horses.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking. I mean, there's a few places I could think of, but I'm still trying to interpret the damn question. An ordinary place that
you can appreciate today.
I'm going to say my car.
I was going to say, you could say your car.
My
because we're talking
car.
about your car.
Because that car has hosted a lot of late night drives when you just want a late night drive.
Yeah.
The heating works where I know people don't have heating. The car's nice where other people's probably wish they had my car.
Yeah.
And let's think about the word ordinary. It's just a car. It's just a seat. And it's just a steering wheel.
It gets you from A to B.
Yeah.
That's it. It doesn't get more ordinary than that. But I can appreciate that space.
Yeah.
It's a little box for me to, just
to do your beat.
just do my thing
do
in
your
there.
thing,
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Brother, thank you again for coming on. I do appreciate it, man.
Anytime, and thanks for having me.
Yes. If you could, like, subscribe, and
Share.
share
If
if
you
you
like
like it. See you later.
Bye, see you next week.